All right, y'all, today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check out its local search, check out its city search, see if it's got BSS. So we're here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, pinned profile, pinned post, whatever. That's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're bringing in people from the entire intent ladder, highest intent on the left to lowest intent on the right, boudoir photographer business is rising. And if we're not doing that, boudoir photographer business is falling. Pretty simple. Over on the left here, we talk about BSS. So the videos here, it's the highest intent peeps. People search for boudoir photo shoots on Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So highest intent search, closest to the money. We want to dominate that first. And over at the end, BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where right now we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So that's some other profiles out there in the universe. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're hurting, we're screwed. Because I mean, we're on page 2 or 3 or somewhere later. And we also know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only, they stay on page 1. So this is the bulk of people searching. The bulk of searchers, approximately 80% of all searches. So we actually want to cater this approximately 80% bulk. This is the bulk of the market. We don't care about the 20% that go to page 10. We don't care. Let's be the best in the universe at capturing these 80% that stay on page 1. So 0 slots, bad. 1 slot is bad, because then, dude, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're, if we got 9 other competing boudoir photographers on our, on page 1, okay, they got 9, buyers are just clicking down, going down every, clicking every link open on, sending a message to every single person, getting a quote from everyone. And we're not standing out at all. They probably don't even they don't even remember our name. They're just clicking through all 10, us and 9 other competing boudoir photographers. So it's a diagnosis. It's the most common diagnosis actually I've seen with across all boudoir photography businesses. Also, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's not normal to have that small number of slots on Google. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. These 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody knows about. So market saturation, obviously, more boudoir photographers entering the market seemingly every week. Every time anyone gets a new iPhone, they're sending out their Google My Business profile saying they now shoot boudoir, or they're, saying, they got their website, they're competing for page 1, maybe even giving on page 1, and kicking us off. Or they're getting a new camera, and now they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they also shoot boudoir. So more and more boudoir photographers are always entering the market. That's never going to change. And so that's market saturation. Everyone's used to that. COVID had a massive blast of that. People needed an income, couldn't work, and now actually needed to became boudoir photographers. So massive glut of boudoir photographers entered the market. The one that almost nobody knows about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So page 1 equality is basically assuming, everyone gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 of Google. More photographers come in, they might kick me off page 1. Now I got 1 slot on page 2, but that's how it is. It is what it is. It is how it is. And hopefully maybe I get back, someone leaves, someone shuts out their website, I go back to page 1, or maybe I go on to page 3 eventually. And it's just kind of something people accepted. But this is a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And so I feel like most people there's never been a word for this. The false belief, for page 1 equality, people just there's never been a word to describe it. So I feel like people haven't really thought about whether they believe in it yes or believe in it no. But people's actions have told me it seems like people just have accepted it, right? Because they never, I don't know, had explicitly a word to say, oh, do I believe in that or not? So, and also this false belief of page one equality has been the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses that I have ever seen. People get relegated to page two, they disappear. They're, pretty quickly after their business disappears because referrals only last for so long. You can only spend so much ad money. CAC, customer acquisition cost, always goes up over time. It's the new people that have never heard about us yet that always, always, always sustain a business. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because we're from page two, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never hit in page two. So we're disappearing, and pretty fast after that, our business will be disappearing as well from existence. And if we got one slot on page one, well, that's the scariest number on page one because we are one person could kick us off to page two if they take our slot. And also, we look the same as the other 9. If there's other 9 slots or 9 boudoir photographers, we look the same. Nothing special. They're clicking through all the links, contacting everyone, price shopping everyone. And so it's like 0 or 1, most likely disappearing. For 0 1 both, local and city search. So we got our universe building up here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But luckily, BSS, boudoir search sameness, is treated with social search saturation. It's our SQs methodology. It's our proprietary solution we've created. And been mastering it, building it over about the last 7 months. And ready to bring it to market. And with SQs methodology, we can actually take it as many page one Google slots as we actually want for whichever keywords we want. Instead of Google PPC, you get 1 extra text ad. Okay, who cares? Dude, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic slots and up, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this SQs methodology, it's social search saturation. So we saturate social search first. And then once we saturate social search, Google recognizes that and it flows to us saturating page one of Google search. So page one Google search is actually the byproduct of saturating social search. And this is actually this is the only thing I've seen that actually is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So imagine we're in Topeka, Kansas, where one boudoir photographer we got. There's 1 million total boudoir photographers competing in this city. Everyone's got their own website. Everyone's ranking or trying to rank page one on Google. But we crank SQs methodology to the max. When we crank SQs methodology to the max, let's say we saturate social search, the first 300 slots for the highest intent keywords across all social platforms. And also, as a result, we capture the first 300 slots organic for Google. Well, there's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that's literally the first 30 pages that we saturate. So when anyone that ever look for a boudoir photographer in our city, anywhere they look, they search on social or they search on Google, we're basically the only one that they can find, even though there are literally 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And so whose business is growing? Ours, even though our market saturation has never been higher. And our business has never been going faster because we capture so much, search intent or so many search slots. And so again, this is the only solution that I've seen that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. Obviously, more market saturation, the more you got to crank the SQs methodology. But at least we finally got something. Finally got something that gives us some hope. Now, once our BSS is treated with SQs methodology, we have page one visibility. So we kind of escape market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, and we achieve page one visibility. Now, a bonus of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So yeah, dude, every new slot we take on page one on Google, we're kicking a boudoir photographer out of there, relegating them to page two or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page two. That's literally 80%, the bulk of the market. It's never going to see them on Google. And same if we do, across all social search platforms. So this is a bonus of doing using the S-cubed methodology, kind of reducing the amount of boudoir photographers we're being price shopped against, or buyers even know exist. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us. So we're no longer at 0 slots on page one or 1 slot on page one. Technically, we can do it with two slots on page one, but we want to get to the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search and city search. Now, Boudoir search visibility, if we can get to 3, that's kind of our big hump we want to get over, because we're definitely going to stand out more than all the other boudoir photographers at 1 slot on page one on Google. And there'll be times when another boudoir photographer will have 2 slots on Google, page one on Google. But if we got 3, I mean, we're dwarfing everyone. So we finally achieved page, it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our universe. We got, disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We got a solution now. S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page one visibility. So we overcome market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. To achieve page one visibility, become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So I'm going to look at me using a S-cubed methodology here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And come down to organic. Got Instagram slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page one on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. And again, this is the only solution I've ever seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation. And has its own, has its own momentum to it. Where ads, if you stop spending to them, momentum instantly drops to 0. That's on Google and on Facebook. Now, main event here, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business, see if they got BSS for either their local search or their city search, and see what's going on. So we're going to Carefree, Arizona, and Fear in Phoenix, Arizona. Carefree, Arizona. All right. Boom, we got 1. And let's see. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And boom, we got 4. All right, so we got 4 out of 10 for local. Awesome. Let's go to city, Phoenix. Way harder to rank here in Phoenix. Let's see, we got, because it's a much larger area, way more competitors. Let's see. All right, right, 0 out of 10. All right, so for city, or for local, we're at 4 out of 10 slots, page one Google search. And so we do not have BSS. We've hit the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search. That's good. So dominating local here. City, we got 0 out of 10. So we do have BSS. So we're at 0 or 1 slots, page one Google search. And basically, we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, your city searches for the highest attempt boudoir buyer keywords for your area, and you either got 0 or 1 slots, for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, and you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. And so you do see that, oh, we actually can't take as many page one slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you see an S-cubed methodology is the only way forward. Best solution for you. That's an only solution for you. And you've been waiting for something like this. You like the initial benefits, more slots, page one Google. You really like the more slots actually kicks competitors off as well. Makes them invisible, puts them on page 2 to 10, makes them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace, the bulk of the market. And as a result, you're also looking ahead. You understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, they upgrade their gear, they become boudoir photographers, blah, blah, blah. But you're also seeing AI is taking people's jobs right now already. AI is going to get better and better, which means it's going to take more and more people's jobs into the future. So like, exactly like COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. Everyone's got a super smartphone with ultra camera. Very easy for anyone to become boudoir photographer. You're like, way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the marketplace now. And so you're looking ahead, you're like, man, I don't need only these links on Google search. I actually need to fortify my position. Page one Google search literally has so many links on page one that Google wants to rank them on page one, but there's not enough space, and they got to go literally like push them onto page two, three, or four. And so you want that fortification, that kind of overflowing of links, to essentially prevent any current boudoir photographer from basically ever ranking on page one Google search again, and also any future boudoir photographer that comes from AI taking their job from ever hopping on, ever be able to rank page one Google search ever again. So you're liking that future benefit, fortification. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, and as a result, you are also thinking about and understanding that executing SQ methodology every single day is, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of plugging into your business name, brand name, social handles, website name, your name, out there on the internet, kind of cyberspace, invisibly. And as we build these up, we're building up this like backend AI keyword mindshare momentum, which contributes to showing up here in AI overview. So every day we kind of execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI overview displays us, which is the most premium slot here. It's the first slot, cannot pay for it, it's organic only. We're also increasing the probability that AI search apps recommend us as well. And when that happens, we're higher chance of being recommended ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Google or Microsoft Copilot. And AI search getting bigger and bigger every single day, more and more people using it every single day. So it's becoming more and more important. So it's kind of like a back-end future benefit. Well, we're kind of going to be going for page one Google search first, because that's still the king. But AI is growing every single day, so it's a back-end kind of parallel benefit of doing SQ methodology. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers with an AI search app. I used ChatGPT. I looked for someone in the city. ChatGPT recommended me 3. I then did the standard Google search and like Facebook search, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we need to find any way possible to get recommended here. Again, SQ methodology is the only solution that enables this in a relatively quick way, or relatively quick increase in probability. And so you're liking those future benefits. You also like the estimated, 8x speed up of creating a large, well-known brand compared to traditional methods. It's because has much more volume on many different surfaces. You also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be first mover, so you can actually get all these benefits, and more importantly, prevent your competitors from getting these benefits and keep them, page 2 or deeper, which is the goal. Keep them invisible and disappearing, keep their business disappearing. And when you actually, you're thinking, if conversely, one of your boudoir photographer competitors in your city signed out with me first, they'd actually be getting all the links. You would actually be relegated to page 2 or deeper. We'd have so many links, we would make sure to do our best efforts so you could never rank page 1 again. We'd be building up their backend AI mindshare, keyword mindshare for their brand, for them to be recommended AI overview, AI search. And we'd be building up such a big gap that in order for you to compete, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology on your own. And when you do that, you would then also need to, then execute it every single day, same as us. But even if you did all those things, the gap would still remain the same size. Because we'd be executing every day as well. So you'd actually have to double or triple our output. And when you do that, you'd have to, well, you wouldn't even be 100% confident to put it in the time to double or triple our output, because still you wouldn't even know if you've derived the methodology of the technology correctly in the first place. And think about all the stuff you're realizing, screw that. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You ain't got 80 hours in a day to do all this stuff. So you're deciding, screw that. And you're deciding to hop on first, be the first mover in your city, block out all your competitors. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when the hospital opens for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.